So I wanted to show the fabric completely stretched and how I did that. In the last video, I was going over the process, but now I've completed it. So let's check it out. Okay, and yes, I did way too many staples. I know that. I used probably double the amount of staples that I really needed to, but I really wanted to make sure because, especially in the corners here, the fabric's a little bit thicker because just the way you fold the fabric, um, it's impossible to lay it flat. And it's the same on this corner, on each of the corners. So there's extra staples in the corners and just a lot of staples throughout. So originally I had started using 9/16 inch long staples. They're not too long, but later I went to 1/2 inch staples because if I mistakenly contacted, for example, if I had hit the edges of two staples together, it would cause one of the staples to go through the wood out through the frame. A couple of the frames have a little bit of damage that I have to go back and fix now because the staple went through. So I got scared and I went to 1/2 inch staples, which are a 1/16 inch shorter than the 9/16, but that made the difference. Gave me a little bit more leeway in case I made a mistake. But because I used 1/2 inch staples, I decided to go the safe route and just put a ton of staples in and not take any chances because this fabric's under tension. If you don't put enough staples in, then the bottom of this strip starts to pull out and the fabric will start to have a gap on the frame. So that's not good. So, better to take the extra time and just do it right and throw a couple extra staples in it. So let's take a look at the front here. And you can see that the corners are just about as perfect as you can get them. Virtually no gap at all. And check out how transparent this fabric is. I mean, look at that. But what's interesting is once you get this dark insulation behind it, this is the insulation right here. This is the Knopf Ecos. Once you get that behind it, you don't see that at all. So this fabric had a 0.95 NRC, ones being the best. And this was the highest rated out of all the fabric you could buy from Guilford of Maine. This was it. This fabric's a pain in the butt though. Let me tell you, you cannot overstretch this. And this has the perfect amount of tension on it. I mean, not too much, not too little. So that's just amazing how transparent that is. Look at that. How transparent it is, but then how you cannot see the fabric or cannot see the insulation behind it. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so that's all completed. Let me put this down again. And I've taken the bars out because I thought I could slip the insulation into the frame, but no dice on that one. So I had to take the bars off, which it's not a big deal. That's why I didn't glue them down and they're screwed down, so I could take them off. So the next step will be to put the insulation in, and then I've got my fabric for the back already cut, ready to go. It's as simple as laying it over, putting a bunch of staples in. And then today or tomorrow, I'm going to bring out all the panels and just kind of do my last thoughts and overview. For anyone watching my videos, I know I tend to mumble and kind of like stutter, and I know my videos can be kind of boring. So if I had the time, I would do, I could do editing and I could do, all kinds of stuff and, come up with better script and make it more interesting, but I don't have the time right now. At some later point, I do intend to do that. However, I do feel that the videos have a lot of great content in them and a lot of good pointers. I just don't have the time other than, using my cell phone currently to just take some videos. I feel that's better than nothing, and hopefully somebody learns something from the videos. One last thing I forgot, I wanted to point this out, is that when I'm cutting these strips, somebody a couple years ago gave me a good pointer in that if you put the strip just up against the chop saw like that, up against the fence of the chop saw, and you cut it, you can get a lot of chipping, right? As the saw goes through this last little range of motion in here, you can chip this piece, you know, like when you have like a really thin or small piece. So they told me, hey, take a piece of, you know, whatever, a block like this or something to space that piece out like this, space it out so that when the chop saw comes down, its range of motion is not on this very edge here. It's further out. It won't chip the strip. Okay, so that's why I have this little piece of block here, is to push this out so when the chop saw comes down, right, it doesn't chip this, and it works extremely well. I have not chipped any of these, and these things are pretty, you know, these are only 3/16 of an inch thick, so that worked very well. I just wanted to, actually kind of forgot to show that in my last video, so I wanted to point that out. Okay, so I'm going to get the insulation in. I'm going to get the crossbars put back in, the fabric. I did mention also that I'm using this high quality Guilford and Maine fabric for the back too, which should add to the performance because these panels will be spaced away from the wall. So I know like other manufacturers don't do that. They just use some like generic fabric, cheap fabric over the back. But having that acoustically transparent fabric in the back will help with performance as well. So that's why I'm using the good fabric on the back as well, which increased the cost by a lot, but I wanted that performance. So I'm going to make a video, stay tuned, final thoughts and showing all the panels completed, and stay tuned. Thanks for watching.